had a feeling, yeah. You're like, oh, let's
It's
just
all like
keep
the,
that
the
out.
main part of the entire.
It was very
We did have a
educational.
very special episode.
I was actually going to ask you if you guys have any weekend rituals. Like, is there something that you wake up and there's something that you not that you necessarily have to do, but it's like, is there something that you like to do to start the weekend? Start it right.
I would say I would honestly sleep in because I don't get to do it the rest of the week, and the kids don't let like kids and stuff. Like if the kids are still asleep,
So you get to sleep
I want to
in.
sleep.
Andrew doesn't get to sleep in.
It depends. It depends. I mean, the kids slept pretty late today. I want to say they all slept till like 9, so that was nice. And Kira actually slept till like 11, maybe later.
I kind of have this weird ritual thing that I always do where, because I always wake up early anyway, like earlier than Brenda. So I'll wake up, and I know she's not really interested in these things. So I start up YouTube and I watch these. Like, it's kind of weird, but it's kind of relaxing to watch these. But I watch these like house tour videos of fancy houses. Yeah, it's like
I
these
like
like
it.
mansions and stuff up in like the Hollywood Hills or something. Mostly, it's mostly Southern California. He travels around a bit, but the YouTuber's name is Enes Yomazur. Enes is Enes. And yeah, he's like this former real estate agent guy, and he just kind of goes around, and every week he has this like fancy new house to show off. And I just like enjoy the methods of the touring that he does. So it's like he kind of explains the little interesting facts about the house, and then he does a little walkthrough, and he walks you through the front door, and he talks about like all the little materials or like the design of the house, and then he walks you through like the bathrooms and the bedrooms and stuff like that. I just find it wholesome and relaxing, so I just like to start my weekend off with one of those videos.
That is interesting.
I think one of my rituals is, yeah, I'll wake up in the morning feeling like P Diddy.
Nice.
If Abby's at like seeing a client or something and everything is still closed up, I'll come out, open everything, and then I'll wiggle the mouse. It's always that. I'll wiggle the mouse. Even if I'm not gonna play anything, I just always have to go over to the computer and wiggle the mouse, turn it on.
Wake
and
it
then
up.
I generally do watch videos myself. I'm a big fan of a tech tuber by the name of Optimum Tech. God, he has got really awesome quality videos on all kinds of really high-end computer stuff. He sounds like you, Eric, if you were from the UK.
What?
He's like me, but better.
No.
Dude, I went to the dog park today and I found a British couple there, and it's freaking awesome.
In the wild.
That's funny. Oh man.
You know, one of the things that kind of got me thinking when I was watching this was the clothing and the style. What was your guys' grade school clothing
90s.
styles? Because mine were pretty shit, I must say.
In high school?
Just, yeah, like in grade school in general. I feel like I went through a couple different phases.
Oh, I was going to say, definitely Eric, like during the 90s when this movie actually came out, you were wearing very colorful hand-me-downs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I also had like this skater style for a while there. And then I transitioned to more like hip hop, and it was like super ultra baggy because that was like what I thought was the cool thing at the time. Yeah, my style was pretty shitty in high school or in grade school in general.
Yeah, grade school for me, I wore all white. And when I say all white, dude, I wore a white shirt with literal white pants and then like straight up white like Reeboks or
Nice.
like K-Swiss. That's what my mom dressed me in.
Oh, she picked it
like
out, huh?
what? Yeah, she's just like, this'll match. This is nice. It's like, dude.
She pulls out a shirt and some pants. She's like, white, that matches.
And I'm white as fuck. Like, you know what's so funny is I would walk out right of Payless, yay, rest in peace, and
right.
like with just the whitest of shoes, and it'd be so white. It'd be blinding me, dude. I'd be like, oh, damn, dude. You just had to put a little time on them, and then they wouldn't be as white.
All right. So should we hop into the movie then? I'll do the intro.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Aflixionados podcast, episode 19, our special December bonus episode. My name is Eric, and the other voices occupying your head this time are a proud mother of three, lab geek, my sister and co-host, Stephanie.
What up?
And please join us in welcoming today's special guest, my good friend and colleague, Ryan.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Thank you to all the listeners out there for joining us. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of the major podcast streaming services. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. Aflixionados is a monthly podcast where we primarily talk about films that range from mind-numbing to mind-blowing. We also sometimes cover TV shows or other forms of media. We will be getting into spoilers here. Only be the healthiest amount of expletives tossed in. You have been warned. Now, if you're ready, then get ready, because in today's episode, we will be discussing the Disney animated comedy classic and musical, A Goofy Movie.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
One
Oh
of my
man.
lifelong favorites.
Childhood.
When Max makes a preposterous promise to a girl he has a crush on, his chances of fulfilling it seems hopeless when he is dragged into a cross-country trip with his embarrassing father, Goofy. Ryan was actually asking this when you stepped away, Steph, but Ryan was asking me how long it's been since I've seen the movie, and I think it's probably been like a good couple decades.
Really? You haven't watched it in that long?
I hadn't seen this. I totally forgot about this movie.
That's so funny
Wow.
because like I watch it pretty frequently, like at least a couple times a year, and so it's pretty much always fresh in my mind.
Every couple of years, really.
No,
Both of you
this is
guys?
one of my favorites. Like I enjoy watching it. I sing all the songs. You know, it's funny because I watched it yesterday, and I think it might have been well, I've tried to watch it with Julian before, but yesterday I just put it on and I was like, I don't care if Julian tries to watch it with me or whatever. But at some point he comes out from the playroom and he's watching with me.
I feel like Julian would like that movie.
You'd think so, but he doesn't like when people sing along with stuff, and so
Kids
I
like musicals.
pretty much like I'm singing along the first song that they sing together when they're in the car and stuff, and they're like on the freeway.
On the Open Road?
Yeah, that one. And I'm singing along with it and everything, and Julian's just like, "No, stop singing," and I was like, "No, I'm gonna sing along if I want to."
Oh,
Jeez.
he doesn't like when people sing over.
Yes,
Whatever you guys are
yes,
watching.
yeah,
Ah,
that's pretty much
okay. See, my wife the same exact thing. Like there were certain parts of the movie where I would like kind of sing like little parts just because it would come back to me, right? As a kid, I'm like, oh my god, I totally remember that part. And yeah, I remember that scene, and I would kind of sing a little bit, like whatever came to mind. I would just feel the slight look over, right? Like she wouldn't look the whole way, but there's just like are you gonna stop?
What was cool about this movie was the director, Kevin Lima. He had worked on several Disney movies previously, but A Goofy Movie was actually his directorial debut.
Huh.
And he would go on to direct Tarzan and 102 Dalmatians after
Oh,
this.
Tarzan is another one of my all-time favorites,
Oh, yeah. I knew you'd like the Tarzan part.
Oh,
and that soundtrack.
Phil Collins, dude. Like my brother's girlfriend does. Just chef's kiss, man. Tarzan is one of my favorites. Funny thing, Abby saw all that in Spanish, but that's a whole nother podcast we could talk
Just
on.
like Shrek.
Yeah, like
If
Shrek.
you guys remember the Shrek story, this is the Ryan that I was talking about.
Oh yeah, it's me.
Yeah, it's the one with Michael and I is one of those episodes. But I don't know if you guys knew this about Goofy Movie. It's in the same universe as the animated TV sitcom Goof Troop, serving as its spiritual successor, which I did not know.
I didn't know that either.
That show does,
I love
star,
that show.
Goofy and Max, so that would make sense.
They look a little
Yeah.
different. So
They
I think,
do.
and Goof Troop was what, like early 90s or something? So this is more like late 90s. And
This is 1995, and then Goof Troop was 1991, 1992, I believe.
I wouldn't have remembered. I was way too young to even recognize any of that, the resemblance.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I haven't seen much of it, but I watched a Goofy movie in Disney Plus, and they give you like suggestions, like related content kind of thing afterwards. And Goof Troop came up, and I was like, oh, when was this? And yeah, I was like 91, 92.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because they do look pretty close, but obviously in this movie, since it's like further in the timeline, they've been aged up. So
Mhm.
Max looks more like a teenager now, whereas like back then he was kind of just like a elementary
Yeah.
school age.
Right, he's in high school right now. He's like finishing high school. That's who he's like doing all that amazing stuff in the concert, or not the concert, during
The assembly.
the prep rally. Yeah,
Dude, he's come a long way.
when what's his name is like, "Yo, Stacy, talk to me, baby." Dude,
And the
that
funny
was
thing is,
so
like, he's
funny.
That dude was, dorky looking and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I bet he was
Star
like
Trekky.
so cool in high school, right? Because everybody looks kind of
Yeah.
weird at that age.
Yeah.
Everyone was in their awkward stage.
I feel very, very close in relation to Bobby in the movie because
Bobby.
he's the techie guy. Yeah, he's the techie guy, and he's that like tubular dude. And I feel like, and like also just like
He's like your
how
spirit
I
animal.
talk. Yeah, he is. Like when he walks into the principal's office after the whole thing, and he's just like, Mr. Mazer, what's up, bro? Like, he's so funny. I love that character. I wish they gave me more of him. And then they give you more of him in the second movie, which is
Oh,
cool.
okay. I never saw the second one.
Yeah.
I never saw the second one until I want to say like a year or two ago, and it's not the same.
It fell into that whole direct-to-video means shit. So that I felt like for me that was one of the examples to kind of back that up.
I'm gonna say you guys are wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love extremely goofy movie, and here's why. Here's why. Okay, go from the 1990s movie to then early 2000s. They went to digital ink, right? There wasn't as much hand draw. They were starting to kind of get into that CGI and digital ink and stuff, but they also were catering to now Max is in college.
Mm-hmm.
College. And so, yeah, I mean like he grew up and everything, but then he goes through that whole thing and it's crazy to hear him say like get your own life and I have my own life in the first one a bunch when he's like yelling at his dad and they're button heads and stuff and his dad's just like, no man, come on, I want you like as like to love me as much as I love you. That's what I got out of this movie is it's a dad who is literally doing everything that he can, a single dad, mind you, doing everything he can to grab hold and be a part of his son's
Never
life.
let him go.
And I can't tell you how many times I teared up during that movie when as a kid I didn't understand half of the shit that was happening.
Yeah.
Like
That's
at all
true.
until now it's like wow, it really made me go on a roller coaster of emotion watching this movie again as an adult.
And here I am. I'm over here like taking notes. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
I wanted to ask you guys, since you guys watch this movie all the time, and you guys are definitely familiar.
Not all the time.
Okay, so
not
every year, not every couple of years for you, but
yeah. No, this it had been a long time, like you, dude. Not as long, but it had been a long time since I've sat through start to finish of.
But it seemed like you actually had a lot more of the movie kind of baked into your memory. Because for me, I feel like I forgot a lot about this movie. So this was a hell of a nostalgia trip going back. But did you guys know that Goofy had a real full name?
No, what's the full name?
You might need to sit down for those listening at home because this is ridiculous. So Goofy's full name, Goofy is basically a nickname. His full character name is...
Well, isn't Goofy their last name? Oh no, Goof is the last name.
Yeah, so Goofy is just a nickname of their last name. So Goofy's full name is Goofer G Goof, or GG Goofy for short.
Oh goodness!
What?
Goofer G Goof?
Goofer G
Goof.
Goofer
Goofer G Goof?
What the hell?
I love it. This is the best name I've heard.
Okay,
ever.
I don't know if you noticed though, because here's the thing: if you see the map, like he shows the map the very first time, he lays it out on the card. He shows
his name and Grandpa's, right?
And it shows a couple of names at the bottom. It says Walter P. Goofy, and then Benjamin Goofy, and then those are both crossed out, and it just because it says this map belongs to. And then it says those names are crossed out, and it just says all Goofies. So it makes it look like Goofy is the last name. Goofey.
And the thing is, the confusion doesn't even end there because originally Goofy popped up in like those old school Mickey Mouse cartoons. There, his name was Dippy Dog.
What?
Oh,
it was just like some
funny.
background character. So they took a background character and fleshed it out basically. And yeah, it's like now it's like who the hell knows what his name is? Everyone just calls him Goofy.
Well, see, but in the scene where they're on the road, right, and they're bouncing and everything, which there's a lot of shit going on in that part. I never really realized, and we talk about that in a second. But they give us Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse for a quick moment, and it's like,
hitchhiking on the side of the road,
and you don't even hear him. You don't even hear Donald.
Yeah. No voice actor. They couldn't hire him that day.
No voice actor.
Couldn't get him in the booth. They should have just hired you.
Oh boy. Oh Mickey. Oh damn it. We're lost.
They could have just said that.
I'm looking at this map now. Yeah, I wanted to look up those names. But one thing that I did notice is that they went to New Orleans at some point, because
Hmm.
they show like the French Quarter and the mime and stuff.
Yeah, like
That
it's
was when
supposed
they
to
dropped the
dip down
piano
all
on
the
the
way.
mime. Yeah, the
Yeah.
map doesn't actually dip down into Louisiana, so just
Honestly,
saying.
there's a lot of that route that doesn't make any sense. They do like donuts at some point in the middle of the map for no reason.
Right.
Like, it's just let's
Yeah,
go
they
through the
just
same
go.
few states a couple times and then we'll head out.
There was something about that animation that I really liked.
It's fun. And Julian was like, "Why are they driving on the map?"
On the
And
map.
I was like, "How do I explain this to a 4-year-old? It's just a representation of their
It's
travel."
the
I don't know.
symbolism.
That's
And
funny.
another time. Oh, what was another part where he was confused? Oh, he got so mad. This is hilarious. Julian got so freaking pissed because he would not accept that Goofy was a father.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, and he's like, Goofy's not a dad. He's just Goofy kind of thing, And I was like, yeah, he's a dad. There's a son. Like they're hugging right now, kind of thing. But he just,
Interesting.
I mean, to him, it's just like Mickey and Goofy and Donald and Daisy and like those are the characters and that's it. Like he could not accept that Goofy wasn't just a character on his own. That he's a father with like a backstory and a life.
So the thing is, what about Donald Duck? He has nephews, So why can't Goofy have a son?
I don't know. Ask Julian. He's the one who's pissed about it.
That's funny. I want to know what his reasoning is for like not accepting him as a father.
I'll have to ask him. I'll be like, why can't Goofy be a dad?
Maybe it's because he thinks that he's too stupid to be a dad.
I don't
That's
think so.
not
I don't know.
far-fetched.
He's 4. I don't know if he really thinks that deep into things,
I don't know.
It seems like he's picking up quite a bit, honestly. Like the whole driving on the map thing. Like I wouldn't have even questioned that as a kid.
That's true.
Let Julian know that Goofy, a single father to his 14-year-old son Max Goof, is that's actually how it's described in this movie. No, Max is this angsty teenager, kind of self-conscious
Typical.
teen. Yeah, and he's afraid of being a loser and turning into his dad, basically. His father.
Father.
It did kind of bug me that Max did have a full name though, and Goofy is never really addressed by his full name, but
is that why you looked it up?
There. Yeah, I was like, why the hell does Max have a full name? Max Goof. And they said it a couple times. Goof. And the movie starts on the last day of school before summer vacation. So everyone's just pretty much checked out already. Like no one wants to do anything. And we're going to be having
just the last day assembly.
This large assembly, which I don't even know what the point of it was. Were they just they're talking about a giant slumber party or something?
I think it was just kind of like general end of the year announcements. Like, here's what's going to be happening during the summer if you'd like to partake kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha.
See you back next year, sort of. Like, if you're going to be in summer school, here's some announcements for that. If you're going to, do these summer extracurriculars, here's some announcements for that sort of thing, kind of.
Yeah.
Last day of school announcements.
Well, the funny thing that you mentioned the slumber parties, Eric, because that's something that I wrote down in the notes about science slumber parties. It's like literally the last thing he says before the lights go out. But could you even imagine that? Just a full class of children, just all those children for science, all sleeping in like the gymnasium. Like what?
I doubt that would ever happen.
If I recall correctly, he was just kind of making suggestions on like activities you can partake in to keep out of trouble during the summer, kind of thing.
So
shout out to that voice actor too. Wasn't he the one that is in like all those Disney movies?
I think he played the principal in like everything in the 90s.
Wallace Shawn. He was in Clueless for sure.
Yeah. Wasn't he a teacher in that too? Like he always.
I think so. Yeah, he was a teacher in Clueless. But what did you guys think of like Goofy and Max's relationship?
I feel like it was pretty typical of a teenager and their parent,
Especially like a single parent.
Yeah, unfortunately, Goofy had the the double whammy of not only being a parent to a teenager, but being a very goofy parent to a teenager, and so that doesn't help the situation. Like that doesn't really help his teenage son take him more seriously or try and get along with him. It doesn't help him have any sort of common ground or anything like that. So it's just all button heads right there, which is unfortunate.
Everyone is always, especially as a teenager, you're always super self-conscious of how you look and how you're coming off to people. And I kind of think of the Goofy family as like, they're just kind of inherently awkward looking as is. Max kind of feels like he already has that stacked against him, and that was something that I could relate with growing up, because I felt like I also went through this like really awkward phase myself, where I had the braces, I had the glasses, I had the whole getup and the acne.
But did you wear the purple and the teal?
Not in high school. In elementary school, most certainly he did, but not in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, the purple and the teal. Let's bring it back, dude. That's
Actually,
and it has to be that, like, what is that fabric that's like
the windbreaker stuff.
Yeah, dude.
The windbreaker fabric.
Bring them back with the hats that look like there's like purple, teal, and then the bill was purple. I had one of those, and I had the matching jacket with the matching like what was that attire? Is that jogwear? No, is that
I think so. Well, I don't know. Windbreaker wear.
Jumpsuit. Is it jumpsuit?
I think
is that
so.
What they're
I
called?
think it probably is. If it
Jumpsuits?
matches, like you have windbreaker top and bottom, that's like a jumpsuit.
That's a jumpsuit. Oh my gosh.
No, because a jumpsuit is like a full, like they're attached. Come on, fashion people. If it's a jumpsuit, they're attached to each other.
I do not. I don't dress myself. I dress myself, and then Abby goes, "Are you sure you're gonna wear that?" And that's when I know it doesn't match.
Bring it back.
Bring it back, dude. The
fanny
purple.
packs. Hello.
Fanny packs. Those things are actually extremely useful. People don't understand.
Right?
The last time I went to Halloween Horror Nights, I took a fanny pack. You put your phone in it, put your keys in it.
You just wear it around your waist.
Yeah, you wear it around your waist. No one's gonna get into your bag, right? In line to steal your shit.
There's actually a new style of that now where it just goes across your chest. Like I don't even think that's considered a fanny pack.
Michael.
It's a separate style.
Michael does that.
It's still a fanny pack. It's just people are wearing it that way.
No, I think it's actually a different style. 'Cause it's like, the fanny packs kind of protrude from your body. This one's supposed to spread out more across your chest. It's supposed to be flatter and like held tightly against your body, I think.
Lame.
No, lame.
Bring back the fanny pack.
That's right.
Yeah. Hashtag fanny packs.
Fanny packs forever.
Fanny packs forever. Yeah, dude. Never let them die. Never let them die.
Stepping away from the Goofy family, what do you guys think of PJ and Bobby, like the friends of Max?
I think it literally it fits that 90s skater group. There was like always that like weird techie hippie dude. And then there was Peach with him just being kind of this like heavy set, kind of equally not as popular kid. Then you got Max.
There you
like
go.
I
You
think,
said it. Equally not as popular. They're just kind of like a little group of misfits.
Yeah, but they were perfect, and they perfectly like they seamlessly fit together as like the perfect cool little group.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I always kind of envy that because I never really had that growing up. Like I didn't have like this like whole clique thing, that.
What, you and Dario were pretty smooth fit there.
Oh, really? Out of all my friends, you chose Dario.
That was the joke.
And like how you said, it was like someone that was like super ride or die for you, like how PJ was. He was ride or die for Max, and I felt like whatever kind of shenanigans Max came up with, Peach was always there, and I felt like Bobby just wasn't bothered by anything. He was like, "I'm down for anything. Let's go."
It's true.
Well, what does it say though that this kid likes to get paid in Cheese Whiz?
In Cheese Whiz,
can he not get his own Cheese Whiz?
I mean, he didn't look like he was the most wealthy, but man, I no doubt that guy is smart. Like he knew his shit.
He did all that, right? He figured out all the technology part. Like when they're backstage, right, and he's like doing all that shit. He even voices to him. He goes, "Come on, man, I'm doing all this for you." And he slaps the thing down. And he goes,
"Why is he welding? Like what?
Why is he welding a wire?
What the hell is he doing?"
I asked that exact same question. I was like, "What is he doing?" And then it shows like a skull on the screen
graphic,
for no reason. What is he putting together?
What the
hell? Question that high tech 90s.
Is that how people were doing their video production back then? Like you had to do like welding and like fusing of wires together just to get shit to work?
Maybe that was like the whole thing, was it was so complicated that he only knew how to do it, and it's just a mess of wires, and it's like he's hired to do this one job, but like God, he does it so perfect, and then when he falls out on the stage, what do you think about that? Like how would you feel falling out onto stage and actually seeing the people you were like.
Oh, dude. Well, because Peach, it's pronounced Peach,
PJ.
right? Yeah,
Peach,
PJ.
yeah, Peach,
So
PJ.
Peach was the one that fell first, and he was like already embarrassed, even though like no one even noticed it. So it's, and
Right,
then
that
like
one was
Max like
funny.
rolls all the way out.
It's interesting because I feel like, hijacking the assembly, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Doing a little musical performance, not that big of a deal. But I feel like
I
it
already
became
know.
a big deal when they dropped the principal through the floor.
That's what yeah. When he vanished, like, where did he go? It sounded
Yeah.
very far.
Well, just wanted to give a shout out to Pauly Shore, who played Bobby, because he had all the best lines.
Seriously.
He did.
They just
Yeah.
hired him for this movie, and they're like, just do your thing, Pauly.
He made the first 15 minutes of the movie. Like, it was just
Yeah.
basically every time Bobby popped up, like, that's what you remembered. It was like the weird shit that he would say. And Max, check it out. The Leaning Tower of Cheese.
Yeah, dude, the way that he just smacks it into his face. Dude,
Oh, so
man.
gross.
Yeah,
Scrumptious.
So good. You know what's funny? How they show him, like the first bit that you see of him is him drinking out of the fountain with a
With a
straw.
straw. Like a weirdo, right?
And he just goes, he straight goes, scrumptious.
So going back to the assembly though, like I felt like this says a lot about Max when he rolls out onto the stage. He's almost kind of exposed at this point, but then he just rolls with it, and it almost becomes way better than just him doing this performance backstage. It's like now it's live. He's out in front of everyone, and everyone can see it.
Yeah, that was really cool. It gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, and before he rolls out on the stage, and it's just like the four colored screen thing he had going on that he was performing in front of. I found a T-shirt of that, and now I want it.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah. It's just the four colors and shows Max as Powerline.
Like in all four
I
colors?
love it.
Or?
Yeah, where it's the four faces, but it's just it's like all inverted color. Yes.
Gotcha.
Fantastic.
I think it's actually a Cole's T-shirt.
Yes, Hot Topic, of course. Oh,
Nice.
yes.
Oh, different dance poses too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So go ahead and visit your Hot Topic website and type in promo code Aflixionados for 0% off.
0% off, yeah. 0% off, none.
Type in promo code Aflixionados for an error message that code isn't
does not
valid.
work. Not valid.
That it is not valid.
So, needless to say, this awesome performance, this assembly, gets cut short because Principal Mazer has to come back and be a killjoy. So he puts a stop to it. He pulls the plug and busted.
Oh man, you know what's so funny? Rewatching this movie, I kind of experienced that like crush feeling again with Max. Just how they were acting with one another and how cutesy they were. Yeah, awkward, but didn't know how to talk to each other. And she's like messing with her hair. No one does that, And it's like all this cutesy stuff, and it's like it's so cute. I don't care about like that ain't real, blah blah blah. No, it's cute. It's like that's exactly how I felt if I can put myself back in school when I had a crush.
And you can tell that she's into him too.
Yeah, just absolutely gaga over each other, and there's just this little sense of like, oh, like would we work or like how close can
it's
we
kind of
get?
like that excitement, that unsure excitement. You're like, okay, this is this is fun, but also kind of scary at the same time.
But what about the music? Like I am a big sucker for like attention to detail, and like the music, like that symphony music. Every time they'd see each other, it's like it's that very nice, sweet
to invoke that emotion
music. Yeah, and I would actually feel how they liked each other, and I'm like, that's so freaking cute.
That's exactly what the musician intended, so good job.
It's kind of like a weird roller coaster because I remember as a kid watching that assembly get cut short. I'm just like, oh man, that was so cool, Yes. And then like, so I'm just as defeated as Max is. And to go through that, he's like waiting in the principal's office, and then Peach walks out, and he's like, he had just gotten done talking to Principal Mazer, and he's like, oh, my dad's gonna kill me, he's like shit bricks. And then that's where Bobby, he does that. What's that line again?
Oh, when he goes, Mazer, what's up, bro? Slams the door and just starts explaining his side of the story. I replayed that part to see if I could hear what he says right after he closes the door, and he just goes into so Straight stupid stoner
Oh my
skater
God.
hippie dude. So funny. I could only imagine how that conversation went and how he got out of trouble.
He probably somehow miraculously talked his way out of it. He seemed pretty suave.
Yeah. God, he is one of my favorite characters. Bobby is.
And he doesn't really pop up again until the end of the movie, huh?
Correct.
I guess they could only afford Pauly Shore for like the first 15 minutes. But he made the most of it.
Yeah.
It was crazy seeing the roller coaster of emotion because Max is sitting there and, he's kind of shitting bricks himself. Roxanne and her friend, what's her name? Stacy? They walk up and they're just like, hey, you should go talk to him or whatever. So it's kind of like the whole Max is thinking like, she wouldn't be into me. And then Roxanne's like, he may not be into me. Someone's got to make the move.
That's so cute, dude. It's so cute.
It is cute.
After the really positive conversation where they discuss like going to the party together, right? And he starts dancing with the secretary, dude. It's so funny what she says. She goes, I'm not on my break yet. Dude, that's so funny.
Move with the groove.
Groove with the dude. See that there he is again, dude. He comes out and he goes, yeah. It's so funny. He's so funny. I love Bobby.
And you know what? It could have been an advantage that Bobby went in first because maybe he could have kind of like, softened him up a bit so the punishment wouldn't have been so bad for Max. But seeing Max basically not worry about being in trouble and dancing with the secretary or whatever, I think that's what kind of pissed him off again. And that's when he called Goofy and gave him that whole speech of like ending up in the electric chair.
Yeah, dude, the electric chair.
Like, all the way to the electric chair.
But it's funny that Goofy and Pete at the photo place were discussing that, right? Of course, Pete goes, yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time before your son gets into a gang and starts creating riots, right? And then that's exactly what the principal said, or a variation of, and used those two terms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so Goofy's just thinking, oh my God, like I don't want my son to literally be maybe, and that's also what Goofy, like what drove Goofy to want to do all this too, is he's trying to save his son from a potential death, right? He's got this in his mind. His best friend Pete is telling him otherwise, and like that's all he's got.
I mean, did this piss you off though? Because for me, I'm like, why is Goofy so gullible? He straight up like he hears this whole speech about the electric chair, and then Pete, he's also kind of like reinforcing this idea, and so he's just like, okay, I believe it.
It made me so mad for him because he's just such a nice dude, and he probably just like gives everybody the benefit of the doubt and assumes that everybody's trying to help him, right?
Yeah,
and that everybody has the best intentions in mind.
I mean, but that's the character.
Yeah, and I feel like Pete is just.
He always seems kind of scheming. Yeah, he always seems like he has like ulterior motives.
Well, Pete's always been Pete in like back in the old times with Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, he was like always the bad guy, right? Yeah. And and then like even in the kids shows like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and stuff, which I am very, very familiar with.
He's also a villain.
He usually is the one who's like causing some sort of mischief, and then they kind of set him straight, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I was wrong," and then he's he like admits his ways and takes responsibility for his actions because that's what they do in kid shows.
I think this would be a good spot to also mention. There were two scenes that cracked me up as a kid watching this. One was during the initial song where the bus driver was like, I'm gonna sit on my butt. So that part, I don't know what it is about butt humor, but that always got me. And then the second part that always cracked me up was when that little girl that's in the photo shoot, she runs away and it shows her butt. She's like, ah,
yeah, dude.
And she's like, fishy, 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 fishy,
fishy, fishy. I'm so happy that they keep that in. Nowadays, they're stripping things out of shows and movies because they're offensive to just freaking everyone. It's I'm fine. You guys are fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with us. Like, we grew up with these movies, and it's like they're treating it like, oh, that's exposure. That's gonna change people's minds. Like, no, not at all. Like they're really starting to get rid of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. You wouldn't redo this movie with modern clothes, would you? Right? Like you would do it with the same exact 90s style. That's how it's in. Whereas like if you tried to redo Goofy movie in a modern time, it would be weird.
I think that might be one of the reasons why I don't like an extremely Goofy movie, is because I felt like it was kind of more the same, but it was different. I was introduced to these characters in a Goofy movie, and then now they're trying to change it up and present it in a different way, and I'm like, nah, but I kind of liked how they were before, you know. I don't know if I
Yeah.
like this now.
That's kind of how I felt about it too.
I understand. Like a number 2 of movies back then wasn't. It was either a hit or a miss. Like Mulan. There can't be a Mulan 2, and there is, but I still have not
There
really
is?
seen it. There is
The animated
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. There's a Mulan 2, and that was one of those straight to TV. It
All
was
the
never
twos
in
back
theater.
then were like straight to video.
The second one is Moulin Rouge.
Very much not.
Not.
How heartbreaking would it be where you finally get the attention from like this girl or guy that you like, and then immediately like your parents just like cock block you and say nope, like scrap all your plans? Like how devastating would that be as a teenager?
You know how devastating that was? Like, watching that, you know how quickly she fucking gave up?
I know. She just
Didn't
like,
even
I
hear
guess
the
I'll find
reason.
somebody else.
Yeah! Like, me and Abby were watching that, and she saw that immediately. She goes, oh, didn't even hear his reasoning. Like, yeah, my dad, oh, no, it's fine. It's cool. I'll just go with someone else. Like, immediately!
She took offense to it because he realized that maybe he made a mistake, and he was like, sorry, you know, I actually don't want to go to this party with you. So I felt like she just interpreted it differently.
Yeah, she was just, you know, from a girl's point of view, she was probably just like, oh, he doesn't like me after all.
Yeah.
He realizes he's made a mistake.
I think she was hurt, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's, you know, like she thinks it's her, and of course it's not.
Well, he's kind of giving the whole "it's not you, it's me" type of thing, but instead of that, he's saying "it's not you, it's my dad."
Right.
And she's like, "Whatever, yeah, I don't need to hear any excuses. Like, it's fine. We don't need to go to the party."
Yeah, but then when he hears, oh, she might go with somebody else, he's like,
Oh, hell
I need
no.
to fix this right now, right now.
Yeah.
And the thing that he comes up with,
It's just an impossible thing. I'm
Yeah.
going all the way across country.
like, there's only one thing that can top going on a date with Roxanne, and that's actually going to see Powerline in LA.
He's like, "I can't go on a date with you because I'm going on a date with Powerline."
Yeah. And it's so funny that you say that, Eric, because I noticed right after he explains it, he literally makes a sound. He goes, "Yee." Like, I can't believe I just came up with that. It's so funny. Oh, that's good. Can I ask you guys this? Eric, how would you feel going to a girl that you like, house, and the dad being that fucking large?
Oh man, yeah.
And then
Super
you
That was
intimidating.
our dad.
Yeah, well then you, Steph, like, how did it feel being the one with the big dad?
Well, fortunately, he was nice, so he wasn't exactly all that scary, even though he was a big dude.
Oh, okay. He wasn't a big
People were
bulldog.
usually like, oh, your dad's so nice.
And you know what? I kind of got that sense from her dad as well, because he's like this big, like lumbering kind of ogre looking dog. But
Growls.
he's like, yeah, I
Mhm.
think he was putting on a front. I bet if you got to really know him, and once he started liking you, he was probably like a gentle giant, you know?
Yeah.
Wiggle his tail.
And she's like, go inside, daddy, and like pats him on the back and stuff.
Yeah, pats him on the little, like, little butt right at the end.
Now I want to talk about the road trip. So they start the road trip, and this is when they bust out into the Open Road song. I realized that this is when I realized how annoying Goofy is to me.
Yeah.
His talking and singing is just, I'm like, I don't remember him being this annoying before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what you expect Goofy's just goofy ass voice to sound like while singing.
Exactly.
Imagine that being your entire life.
Yeah, dude.
And that is what Max feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I probably will be as a dad.
Yeah. As a dad. But that's how we'll sound to our kids, no matter what.
So
Exactly, yeah.
freaking
Maybe that's
goofy.
what Julian thinks you sound like when you're singing. He's like, stop.
You know what I thought was really funny about their road trip was some of the games that they played, right? Like when he goes down the list and then they do the one where it's like man or woman, and he goes
Oh, yeah.
Walt Disney. I just thought it was so funny because it's like, who else could they just cameo in their movie?
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times Disney was referenced in this movie. Like I picked up like 3 different times, and one of them was when there was Mickey and Donald on the side of the road,
Oh,
kind
okay.
of stranded. And
Okay.
then, you know, the whole like a Guess Who game in the car, and they say
Right.
Walt Disney.
Walt
And then
Disney.
also his keychain little like decoration had the Disney D in
Yeah, I
cursive.
did notice that.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for that real quick.
Those were the only ones that I realized. But did you guys notice any other references to Disney?
No, I didn't. I didn't catch the. I didn't catch the. Oh, I do see it. It is the D, golden red. That's so funny. Ah, man, see, little attention to detail. That's so fun. I love that.
Oh, I do. When they go to that motel, the under the sea themed motel, and the nightlight is like an Ariel, like it's not blatantly Ariel, but you know, it has
it's a
like the
Little
green
Mermaid.
fin and the purple bra and the red hair flowing
red
up. You
hair.
know,
That's
he's
funny.
like flipping it on and off.
And then he does say classy. Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
shit. Dude.
True.
Like the little cameos and like little Easter eggs. I love that. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
There was an embarrassing moment for me during this open road song. I don't know why I thought this as a kid, but the whole part where it shows the tow truck driver driving next to him, and you know how he almost swerves into him, and he's like, "Watch it, Mac, or you'll
Yeah.
be getting towed."
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I was thinking frog toad right there, and I was like, what does he mean by that? I never
my
understood that.
God.
Oh, that's
so
hilarious. You know, that's funny.
It threw me off my whole childhood because I'm like, every time I see this scene, what does he mean by toad? I don't
And
get
you
it.
thought about, and it's been in the back of your head for 20 years, just impeding your whole life.
Well, as a kid, you don't like our parents, like they've never really gotten towed before, and so I wouldn't see a tow
Yeah.
truck. I didn't realize that's what he was driving until I got older.
Or you could watch a movie with the captions.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, they spelled toad wrong.
They spelled toad wrong. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Your wife's next to you, right? And you guys are watching it together, and then you say that. What would you say? Hey, man, they got a toad wrong. And like she looks at you like
You're on crack.
like the frog, and you're just like, yeah. You know what's so funny about that whole scene? When they drive up next to that truck, right, where there's like another goofy playing the piano, and those 3 hot women come out, and they're like, "Howdy, boys, is this the way to Nashville?" Why'd they come out of that, you know? And then that whole scene, right? Like I didn't realize, but there's like so many things going on. There's a fire truck, right? There is someone coming in on a parachute into his like wife's like the bride's car and stuff. Then you got some dude in a trunk with cement on his feet, and he's tied up. Like that dude is literally gonna go die. Like, yeah, and they just threw all that in there, and you're like, what is happening right now?
This is all happening on the freeway at one time.
Yeah, all at once. There's even
The
like
nuns,
a limo.
The guy going to prison.
Yeah.
The zombie in the hearse.
The zombie and like, and he says
Not really a
something about
zombie,
the
but
morgue.
like the dead dude. Yeah.
He's like
So
reanimated.
funny.
Like he pops up
what?
and.
It was the power of the song. The song is what like briefly reanimated him.
Exactly. He had
Brought
to
him
get
back to
his
life.
last line in there.
Got it. Yeah. That's funny.
Oh man, I cannot wait to see what you guys think of that theme park, that possum based theme park.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so happy we're talking about this right now. Oh my gosh.
This reminded me of like
Possum
a broke ass Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, dude. Like you already get the whole feeling with the girl being dragged in like, I don't wanna, no.
It's almost like a horror movie.
Yeah. And it's like the possum is even just, there's sharp teeth, there's no eye color, it's all just cement looking. It's like, it's awful looking. It looks like, yeah, something from like Freddy Fazbear's like Pizza Hut or something.
The thing is, I've been to Chuck E. Cheese, and they used to have this like animatronic show, and I think that's what that.
Exactly like that. It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah, made out of like a couple like 2x4s,
I love it.
and it's all like breaking down as as it's happening.
The way the like keeper hits the freaking stage to fix it again.
They don't have the budget for this, they're barely making ends meet.
Oh gosh, so good. I mean, and
It
like
was.
But it's so terrifying at the same time.
And what even made me kind of solidify not really wanting kids, at least right now, is that little girl that's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, it's awful. Just hearing just everyone trying to sing, just this little buck-toothed child staring at you, just screaming. I would just...
That alone is what's keeping you from being a parent.
Let me
Yeah.
explain something to you though. When it's your child, you think it's like the cutest shit that's ever happened, right? And so like I know I have that biased parent view. And
Uh-huh.
so a lot of the times I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, oh man, you know, my kids are the cutest things that ever happened. And then I'll stop myself and be like, is it cute to just me? Like, is this annoying as fuck to everybody else around me right now?
Oh, probably. Probably.
And then just cuss that kid. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dude. Oh, kill me now.
Only other parents other understand. Like, we'll look at each other and be like, yeah.
But you know what's funny? So going back to the Possum Land, when Max and them like finally got out of there, and Max is just completely just fucking done with it, right? He
Oh, yeah.
he was done. He was like,
He's over it.
I am out of here. And then he meets the man, like the Possum Man, just in the
mascot suit. Yeah.
I can't tell you how often "Who's your favorite possum?" just plays in my head.
That would terrify Brenda because she has this fear of those like giant mascot suits. So every time we go to Universal, she hates how they walk around in like the Simpsons suits. She's like, "Fuck that! Let's go this way."
That's hilarious.
Have you ever been to Halloween Horror Nights with her?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So the big tall things, right, on the stilts. Do
Yeah,
those freak her out?
it's like things like that. Yeah, that are like oversized.
Yeah.
It freaks her out.
It's awesome.
I wanted to actually bring up a cool thing about that Possum theme park thing. So
Yeah.
apparently that's loosely based off of Disney's own Country Bear Jamboree attraction at
That's
their
hilarious.
parks. So it's like they're actually something that is kind of resembling that in the I think it's like the Toontown area.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Disney's actually working on a lot of stuff. The one over here in California, they're working on a lot of stuff in that Toontown area. Me and Abby went there recently, and they were having a whole bunch of like construction and such going on over there. And I
Oh.
think they were adding to the park, maybe.
Little by little, they're almost like taking over Anaheim.
Yeah, dude, Disney. I mean, Disney owns so much.
Let me ask you guys, how dope was Pete's RV?
Oh my
They meet up
goodness.
with Pete and PJ camping.
I wanted that RV.
Yeah.
And this thing was like straight up like cutting trees to make room for its pool.
That part was so freaking hilarious.
The
Yeah.
bowling alley on top. It was
Bowling
great.
alley, the pool.
I love how over
The
the
sound
top everything
system.
was.
And I'm pretty sure that thing was bigger on the inside, just like the Spice Bus.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Man, but the way that PJ was cleaning with his butt while listening to Powerline, that was funny. That was that's so funny. And when he sees Max, like I actually didn't really realize like how Max is literally just standing there and goes, "Hey." Like
He's
hey,
like, what a goob.
what a
Yeah.
goob. But I think if I had an RV like that,
It almost transforms. Like it starts off like a regular RV and then it like triples in
turns into a
size.
whole resort.
And they kind of do. They have ones that do that. Like the little piece comes out, and
Expands,
then you have
yeah.
like a whole living room. But like when it's all together, you don't have any room on the inside because it's all squished together
Oh my
on
gosh.
the inside.
Mhm.
Like if it when you know, so you can't like hang out inside that thing while it's on the road.
I've never been in one.
You just have to be side by side. You can't like be in a circle or anything like
No.
that.
Yeah, just in each of the chairs that are available.
That's the dream. It's very much like just kind of making fun of the whole like how ridiculous some of these RVs are with the amenities that they come
Mhm.
with, right? Like it's just like, well, what other crazy shit can we add on
Right.
this?
Yeah, they were just it was like 4 quadrants of crazy ass shit. It was like to the left of it was what was that like badminton? No, was it basketball?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think there were because I remember hearing like the ball drops and bounces.
Yeah,
And it has the pool. It has like a whole patio with like all the patio furniture, right?
right, yeah, and like a grill,
Like
right?
umbrellas and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the grill.
And then on top was the bowling alley, which is nuts.
I feel like Pete and PJ showing up in the RV, and then Pete gives him that terrible advice of like under the thumb and stuff, and then you know he tells Max like, oh, we're going fishing right now, I feel like that's kind of a little bit of the turning point, because even though, I don't think it was the right move to be like, this is what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go fishing and whatnot. But that was when they catch Bigfoot and get stuck in the
Yeah.
car overnight together.
After showing him the perfect chaos.
I wrote it down. I wrote all the steps down, and by
Yeah.
golly, it's great. It really is.
Oh god, what is it?
He goes, you gotta be loose, relaxed, feet apart, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, quarter to 3, tours jeté, twist over, pot of bouret, I'm a little teapot, wind up and let her fly.
Let it fly.
I want to know who came up with that. Who, like,
Who in the writer's
I'm a little
room?
teapot.
yeah, in the writer's room with all the little animation wall and everything, like showing like all the details of him doing the little things. But the whole like I'm a little teapot
Yeah.
killed me every time. I'm like, oh my god.
Because it happens so fast. Like he's doing all these little moves. Things are also inadvertently happening where he kind of steals the steak off of the grill, and then he launches that a mile downstream, and then it like he thinks that he captures some sort of fish in this little like 1 foot
I know,
stream.
he's like, must be a 3-pounder.
Yeah, dude, that one was so funny when he goes, this must be over 3 pounds. My other favorite scene is when he pulls him out of the water, right? And then like Max freaks out and
Can
goes,
you back
"Oh, it's
up a bit, Mr.
Bigfoot."
Foot?
Yeah, you're out of focus.
He calls him Mr. Foot. That was my favorite
Mr.
part.
Could you
Foot.
back up a bit, Mr. Foot? You're out of focus. Oh, so good.
The part that cracks me up too is when, eventually they fling the steak back into Pete's face, and then when they're like, "Oh, it's Bigfoot," and so he sees it, and he just picks up the grill and he just chucks it into the RV.
Steaks and all, and then just like shuts the whole thing, and it all sucks up, and then they take off. Oh, it's so good. I think it's so funny that they went
Fucking
through the
outta here.
sunroof though to like get away from him. Like they were like,
Well,
oh,
they had, because the doors
sunroof."
were locked.
Yeah, like
The doors
oh
were
my
locked, so
God.
they jumped
They
through the
forgot the
sunroof.
keys.
So
And that was where
dumb.
they get stuck in the car and are like forced to kind of face each other. Yeah.
Camp out.
That's part of that like creative writing where like how Eric said, that roller coaster of emotion, right? Like the like under his thumb, we're doing this right now, but then they're in horrible turmoil with Bigfoot showing up, and then they have to like make up with each other. Now there's this moment where they get to talk again, and they just kind of vibe off of each other, and then that's where the whole
Mhm.
soup shows up.
Yeah.
They're forced to have that
Yeah.
breakthrough.
Yeah. And then after that, that was when Goofy finally gives him a little bit of freedom, which is like the opposite of what Pete advised.
Right.
And that was where they have the best relationship.
Exactly.
Life hack: if you don't have a can opener,
Just bite the
of
top.
the can.
Exactly.
With your teeth, with your goof teeth.
He even says that his dad
R.I.P.
showed him that.
teeth.
R.I.P. teeth. Yeah.
Oh, fun fact about the scene too with Bigfoot. So he's like rummaging through everything, and he gets like the underwear, like the white tidies with it.
Yeah.
He like looks through the little pool.
Yeah.
That one's so funny.
So he gets the headset put on, and what's he dancing to?
Bee
The
Gees.
Staying Alive. Whatever?
Staying alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice during that part he's like dancing in the background? He starts off in one C pillar of the car, and then he moves his way to the other C pillar.
Uh-huh.
His model just disappears. Like he doesn't disappear behind a tree. Like you can still see his arms and his body, and then just goes boop, and he just like vanishes.
Huh, I didn't notice that.
No, I didn't notice that, but I will. That's so funny.
You see him, and then next thing you know, like next frame, he's gone.
Yeah.
That's
Like
hilarious.
vanishes into thin air.
Gotta love it. Oh man, the beauty of editing. Because there's another thing later on in the movie that I did notice, and I'll bring it up in a bit. But yeah, I love that scene. Just as soon as you start hearing, you're just like, oh, I'm in it, dude. I'm in it.
His shoulders are one at a time.
Such a good scene,
To
man.
this day, like when they like if somebody tells me to dance and I don't want to, I still do this.
The little finger, yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's funny because a lot of people, like, if they didn't watch Goofy movie growing up, they're not gonna get the reference.
Yeah.
Oh no, totally not. Actually, I saw this clip before we started recording on one of the American Idols. I think it was like in 2019. One of the contestants did a Powerline song, and none of the judges knew the
Nice.
song. They're like, I don't get what the song is, but I'm
What?
like, no one saw a Goofy movie. What the hell?
What?
I would like to see this clip. You're gonna have to find this clip for me because I would like to see it.
Oh, I'll send it to you guys
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I need to see that because what?
Yeah, look up American Idol, and I think it was like Disney Week or something like that. So because Katy Perry is dressed up as Ursula.
Sense. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
Did you happen to do the research, Eric, on who sings? Because I don't want to overstep what you got listed.
Who sings his Powerline?
Uh-huh.
Tevin Campbell. How do you not know this?
jeez. Yeah, I was like, I don't think I've heard him do anything other than
No, he was.
Powerline.
I mean, early '90s. He had a couple of songs that I guess were like late. I don't know, late '80s, early '90s. I want to say he had a couple of songs that were kind of popular. Because I actually know, like, I posted something about him and Goofy movie on Facebook like once upon a time, and my brother-in-law was actually like, "Oh, Tevin Campbell," and like named a couple of songs that were not any of the Goofy movie songs, and I was like, yeah, cool. So he was known at some point.
Okay.
But of course I know him from a Goofy movie. So.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where I know him from. That's the only place I know him from. Man, I felt bad when Goofy does hand over the responsibilities of the map, and you know how Max is kind of like going to all these places that he's interested in going, and so you kind of feel like. I mean, it's nice that Max is having a blast now on this road trip, but Goofy is he seems so out of his element and uncomfortable and overwhelmed in all of these situations, like the monster truck rally and the roller coaster and all this stuff.
Yeah, the roller coaster. And then
Goofy's just trying to be supportive, and he's just like trying not to be a bother, but he's
but
just,
did
like,
you
not having a
notice
good time.
like when they're at the monster truck thing and Max actually looks at him and notices that he's not having a great time, so he takes him to see the world's biggest, or was it like the ball of yarn or something?
Yeah,
the ball of yarn house or something. Like he totally did that.
Oh
boy! That's good. Yeah, that's actually really sweet, right? Like that's another turning point where you're seeing them getting along and trying to figure out each other and what
They're
each other
compromising.
likes. Exactly, because Max obviously not into it, but he's like, "Hey, do you think you'd be into this?" And it's on the way, right? Because he's the navigator, so it's like he's the one picking it out. He's the one that picked out the room, even, right? So he picks it out and everything. And
also, I'm wondering how much is this costing him, because all the shit that he's doing looks expensive.
Well, it was back in the 90s. Things were, you could do stuff off of one income, and things weren't as expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has a nice ass house, this 2-story big ass house.
Single parent.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He works at like a pharmacy?
No, he does photography apparently. Like he works at a photography studio, taking kids' pictures and stuff.
Photo section of like a CVS or something.
No, I think it's like the photography section of like a JCPenney.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a department store. He works at a department store.
Apparently they pay pretty damn well. We're in the wrong line of work.
Yeah, shoot. I mean, paying $20 a photo.
Here's the thing, like they're actually getting along. They're making compromises. They're doing stuff with each other, for each other, etc. It's nice until freaking Pete comes back and intervenes again.
Yeah.
And ruins it again.
They straight ditched him. Like didn't even think like they were going to be eaten by Bigfoot or anything like that. He was just like, we're out of here.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
What did you guys think of the High Dad suit? Like that touching moment.
Cute.
Yeah. Like that one, I definitely teared up a bit, just kind of thinking.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, just like I started realizing that Max is coming to light with like his dad just wants the good time, right? He loves them.
The difference was he actually listened to Goofy. I think that's when what really got him was when he was like, I remember when you used to spell "I love you" in the soup, and he was just like, oh man.
Right.
And so he was like, well, I mean, I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I'll at least give you a hi, Dad, and that was enough for a parent. And I could see, I've seen this happen to parents before. Like I feel like even stuff that my sister would do would make my dad tear up.
Aww.
They would clash a lot, like my sister and my dad, and it's because there was so much love there. And my sister would, I'm kind of like on your case because I want you to walk me down the aisle, see me get married, and meet my kids and stuff. And it kind of took all that fighting for it to finally get through to him why they were fighting in the first place.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he was around to do most of that stuff at least,
Yeah. Max and Goofy they're starting to kind of get along now. They're making compromises up until
Pete comes and fucks it up again.
Yeah, Goofy finds out about the map and he's all sad, and they actually come to the fork in the road. And this part right here always reminds me of coming from the 210 going into Redlands, and then you split like going east
Right.
and west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better pick it, or else you're gonna hit the wrong one and you're gonna get stuck.
All my childhood, I felt like freeway junctions were such a dramatic thing because of this movie.
I agree.
It's life or death.
I was like, oh my god, a junction!
A junction. Oh, dude. Or even worse, the one going to because I don't really know the freeway numbers, but the one going towards where it goes towards Fontana, Bloomington, and cuts off and goes towards Riverside one way, or goes to San Bernardino the other way. And it's just that junction down that
the
way.
215.
Yeah, something down that way, and it's like I hate it. I hate it. I hate how high you go up on some of the freeways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know if you wanted to mention your experience on that junction stuff, but that was freaking wild.
On the overpass.
The highest overpass out of all of them.
Yeah, on that overpass, I was on the right lane.
The outer one? You're crazy.
Yes, I know. And some bitch hit me from the driver's side and like basically tried to knock me off the overpass. Thank goodness they're pretty strong. Like I was talking to the tow truck driver afterwards, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're not gonna go over the edge of that thing unless you're in something really big like a semi or something, you know." Yeah. So it was terrifying. And then this bitch tried to say I hit her, so double whammy.
What?
My lawyers are still working on it.
And luckily, yeah, no one got seriously injured either.
Just be like PTSD for the rest of my life.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah, eventually after that fork in the road, Max decides to go to LA, and Goofy pulls over to the side of the road because he's just fuming, right, with what's going on, and he feels so betrayed by Max because all he seems to care about is this damn concert instead of spending time with his dad. And so he gets out of the car, and they're arguing, and then Max leans on the car, and that shit starts rolling away.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little sad that we never got to see this Lake Destiny because it sounds pretty important, and like obviously it means something to Goofy, and it must be like this beautiful lake, but we'll never know because we never get to see it.
That's true. Yeah, Lake Destiny. That is funny. Man, because yeah, it like it shows just a big fish, right? It doesn't really show like the lake
on the map. Yeah, it's just a fish.
Yeah, I wonder. What would it be Lake Tahoe?
Maybe.
It seemed more north. It looked like it was up in like Washington.
It's either in like Oregon or like southern Idaho. Is slightly unclear. Is that where it was? Yeah,
around that area. Yeah.
Looking at the screenshot of that map, that's around where the trail ends.
So the car ends up going over the side of the road into the river, and they follow it in. They're just floating on this damn car, like helpless. What are they gonna do? They have no plan. They're still arguing. This is your fault. No, it's your fault.
I think it's that was a scene that really freaked me out because I think they're right, like they're chasing the car. The car makes it down and into the water, but how it made it into the water was so freaky. I always get that like weird feel when I'm traveling through mountains on the side, just like I'm always just looking over the edge like, oh my god, I'm just gonna be riding on the guardrail as it comes out of the ground.
As you guys said before, this is where Max, well, first Goofy does the perfect cast to try to save Max, but it's kind of unsuccessful. So then eventually the roles kind of change, and so Goofy is the one on the car, Max is the one that's off to the side now, and so he has to perform the perfect cast to save Goof.
Right.
And he's doing it in the air too, right?
Right. Well, see, Goofy still had the fishing pole, and after watching this scene again and totally tearing up, just watching him save his own dad, Goofy has the fishing pole and he's falling, and that's when Max grabs the fishing pole and starts saving his dad, but then his dad's like the cork handle pulls off, and that's where he does the perfect cast and does the little teapot real quick. I'm so happy that they threw that in there. Yeah, he's like little teapot and go. It was so good. I love that scene. But when he caught him, it was something to see them like look at each other like just before Goofy like falls, right? Like you're just kind of staring at like, I can breathe, and then they give you that, and you're like, oh no.
Of course, that's not the end of it. And that seemed like it was the very end of the line too, like just barely able to catch him before
just barely ground. And I mean, oh man, yeah, like when they finally see each other, it was just that final moment of like, But you know what I actually really liked is like while they're floating on top of the car before they even hit the waterfall, right? They are having that real loving moment together where, and it's after the singing. Um, Max is finally explaining the whole situation, right,
Yeah.
to Goofy. Like, this is why I love this girl, or I really like her a lot.
This is why the concert is so important.
Mm-hmm. And now Goofy understands. Now he's no longer pissed. He's like, oh, Lake Destiny can wait. We can make that another trip. We're going
Let's
to this
fucking
concert.
go.
Yeah, and I think that's when I started getting really happy and excited. Oh wow, now Goofy, all Max had to do was just fucking tell him, right? Maybe that's what it all goes full circle to. Just
Just
tell them.
communication.
Just communication, right? And it's like, yeah, I love that whole scene of them explaining to each other. And it's like you like the whole movie was like, man, they're not good at explaining, and then he finally explained himself, and I felt good at the end of that.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, back to that little waterfall scene though, who didn't tear up a little when Goofy comes out of that fog and they hug each other?
It was done. I was done. Yeah, no, it was yeah, I was definitely tearing up at that point for sure, because I just felt so good that he saved him, and it was like, oh, comfort. And they
Yep.
just looked at each other, right? And they just like, it's so heartwarming to
That's
see
cool.
that.
They got to save each other in like a short amount of time, you know, like shit's kind of hitting the fan on all fronts, and they actually have to work together to get out of there.
Yeah, I mean, but then, it just skips straight to the concert. And
Yeah, did you notice how rushed it felt after that waterfall? Like, it seems like it's just like boom, like they're already in backstage area. They found a way in.
It wasn't necessary to show any more of the journey because at that point they're just getting along. So it's just going to be them like singing songs and driving down the road.
That's true. Yeah, no, you aren't wrong. But you know what I thought was really funny? So I looked everywhere for the song by Powerline, right? Before I realized like who it was, and I'm looking for Eye to Eye, but it's I, the letter I, the number 2, and then the letter I to I.
Y'all are trying to spell it correctly.
Yeah.
I think you can still find it if you look it up as, eye to eye, like, your eye.
Really?
But if you look it up under Tevin Campbell, for some reason, like if you look it up under Tevin Campbell, it's always listed under Tevin Campbell. Like they want to give him his credit,
Right.
As opposed to Powerline.
Sure.
Right,
No,
because
that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of funny, like thinking about that song, just everything about it. It is kind of the whole story of Goofy Movie. Like if you listen to most of the lyrics, it's like seeing it eye to eye, for the first time. Like there's all these like little snippets of like getting along and like loving and stuff, and it's like finally seeing things eye to eye. Like there was a couple of little moments in the song where I was like, oh, that's kind of like what I just watched. Like, so
I never noticed that. Like I know the lyrics and stuff, but
they are seeing eye to eye. Yeah, that's true. And it's cool. Like even on stage, like it didn't take them long to find their way on stage, and it's like this giant concert, but there's apparently not that much security.
Right, there's that one guy.
Goofy like takes like that little elevator up, and he's already on stage, and so he's dancing with Powerline, and Max is like, do the perfect cast, so he's like doing the whole dance routine without anything, and Powerline's kind of impressed by it.
Yeah, and then he like starts like doing the dance with him, but it wasn't until he did like the moonwalk that I was like, oh, that's not part of the perfect cast.
It's the whole like Max, all three of them, right? Powerline, Max, and Goofy are like doing the Powerline dance moves, and it's like, how the fuck do they know the choreography?
They're professionals.
Man,
they picked it up from watching them do it once.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just watching the one, and they're like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with it. No, I thought it was funny when the scene skips to the TV where all the kids are around the TV and they're waiting for Max to show up, and fucking Bobby, of course, just in the crowd, he goes, that goof kid ain't there.
Was that Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby freaking just randomly goes, that goof kid ain't there. Oh, that shit's so funny.
I didn't know that he popped up again at the end.
Yeah,
I knew it was Roxanne and PJ watching it.
At some point, they're dancing. Like, I want to say it's like Stacy drops her glasses, and I think they run into each other, Bobby and Stacy, and she drops her glasses or something, and they both reach down and they touch hands.
Yeah, that's a cute scene. You know what I thought was actually kind of funny? And I was trying to find some kind of consistency in it, and I couldn't quite find any consistency. But a lot of the attractive characters don't wear gloves, and their ears are normal.
Huh.
Interesting, huh? I did notice that 95% of the people in this movie wear gloves,
Wear
the
gloves.
Mickey Mouse gloves.
Uh-huh.
That's that dog life.
But but if you look at like at the very beginning when they're like singing, right? There's the cheerleaders with the pom-poms. They have no gloves. Then there's the weird gothic girls that are like, blah, they have no gloves. Then there's that one girl who's like, who's that guy? She has no gloves. Roxanne
True.
has no gloves. Stacy has no gloves. Like, but then some of the dancers do because it's part of their attire, but they're not the big goofy gloves. They're skin tight, and it's just like
Oh.
Yeah.
like a line. And so I was just trying to see a consistency, but even like the twins in the very beginning at the very like the beginning song, they're not wearing gloves. And then the male twins, the bigger dudes aren't
Right.
either. So I was like, there's no consistency with like race or any of that within this world. So I kind of like it like that. I don't know. It's like it keeps it.
They need some diversity.
Yeah, and I think the only reason that I like noticed that was because in the second movie, extremely goofy movie, Bobby again at the end, you catch him looking under his glove and he goes, "Hey, do you guys ever wonder like why we're always wearing gloves?" It's like literally
No
right at
way.
the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another
And
thing too, they're all dogs, right? Except for Pete and PJ. I think they're supposed
No,
to be
they're
cats.
dogs. No, they're dogs too. They're just like their little like.
cats or
No,
They're
they're
supposed to be
not.
cats. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're cats.
Because how Pete's supposed to be villainous, I think he's supposed to be the opposite of what Goofy is.
Yeah,
I don't
and,
believe
like,
this. I'm gonna look this up right now. I thought he was supposed to be like those little like crop-eared kind of bulldoggy.
No, I feel like that's the guy that's on the bus.
Well,
I'm
him
gonna
too.
sit on my butt. Yeah,
Or
he's
Roxanne's
the bulldog.
dad.
Or Roxanne's dad, yeah. But then what is Roxanne, dude? What is she? Like she's gotta be she's like a prairie dog, dude.
Not even a real dog.
Yeah. That's funny.
Does it say?
It does say that he's supposed to be a cat, but I still don't believe it.
Ah!
Yeah.
Knew
It says
it.
at first he bore the appearance of a bear, and
What,
then they
in, like,
changed it to a
Steamboat Willie?
cat. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
He kind of reminds me of those old school wall clocks where the eyes are shifty, you know? Like there's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that's what Pete reminds me of.
The cat clocks.
Got that like Cheshire cat smile on.
See, and it's funny because the same scene when like Max does eventually show up and stuff, and Bobby on cue again. He goes, "Yeah, Max on the oob, dude."
Of course.
And then he finishes. I know him. Freaking, he's so funny. I love that guy. He is my favorite character. My favorite, just little stoner skater hippie character that just knows shit. He's so cool.
Well, what about when they get to Roxanne's house? And even though Max is kind of riding this high now, right? Like he got to meet his idol in Powerline and dance with them. Like, but then he's still sad because he feels like he needs to explain himself to Roxanne, and he needs to explain that he actually lied to her initially and that he didn't know Powerline previously going in.
I think that's kind of nuts, like, right? Because it's like you go through this whole adventure and it's crazy. You see it in the car, like how it rolls up. It rolls up. I think even the doors fall off when they stop, right? Like it's trashed. They went through hell and back. They don't even give you any of the back, right? Like they just like you just see the whole trip there, but you don't see the trip back. It's just like they just came straight home, and he has to tell her like, yeah, I lied and I told you that I knew them, but I don't. I think it's because eventually, right? Like, is she gonna ask, hey, can we go see them if your dad knows them? It's like, oh no, he doesn't know them. Like, how long would that be? Would that be months or years? Yeah. So I think that's kind of nuts that they threw that in there. Like, I think Disney kind of threw stuff in there to teach us kids things.
I don't think it was thrown in there at all, because at some point he finally fesses up to his dad, and about changing the map and stuff. So he's like learning the value of honesty or whatever, and then he feels he has to do the same thing with Roxanne. So
well, then you're right. Yeah. Him growing really is what this movie's about.
That's his grown up moment.
I love that.
For his other one.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
And of course, you got to break up the drama with Goofy like crashing through the roof for no reason.
Yahoo!
Maybe no reason. That car exploded, and it was bound to explode.
Yeah.
How did it even make it out of the river in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good question. I always wondered that too, actually.
And they drove it back.
Oh, that is funny. I didn't even really think of that.
And they drove it back. I wonder
Dude.
how long it took for it to dry in the desert before they drove it back.
Jeez.
That's true. Did you guys like when Roxanne admitted to liking or digging his Max's laugh when she first heard it?
Yeah.
It kind of tells you that the things that you're most embarrassed about, other people may totally dig it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, you just never know.
She was wooed by his first initial super embarrassing yuck. Yeah, and like she even says it too. She's like yuck. Like she even like says it back to him, and it's one of the cutest little moments that I've seen in
Yeah.
cartoons in a while.
I thought the relationship was organic, and
You just ship these two so hard, Ryan. You like them together.
yeah, I think they make a good couple.
Yeah, like I think well, and they're not together in the next movie, so it makes me sad.
Yeah,
like what happens?
that's
See,
true.
that might be another reason. It's like she's like not even explained. She's just not in the movie, right?
Yeah, so it's like I guess the reason that I'm so adamant about it is it does take me back to some like childhood moments where I've experienced things that Max experienced too, just throughout his whole trip there, and it's so cool to go back and watch these movies and be like, oh wow, like they were telling me stuff that I was gonna experience 20 years before I experienced it.
Yeah.
That was a wrap, folks. If you made it to the end of our podcast, then we're all heading to LA for a new Powerline concert.
Yeah, boy.
Woo.
Any final thoughts or closing comments?
You know, I love this movie. Everyone knows it now. I keep watching it over and over. I'm glad that you guys were able to come back to it. I mean,
Mhm.
I thought that you guys were just like me, just watching it, you know, constantly throughout your lives, like everyone should. Hopefully, this will inspire other people to give it another shot again, give it a new watch.
I think the songs hold up. The songs are excellent.
think so, too.
Oh yeah, give Tevin Campbell some love. That's what I was gonna
Hell
say.
yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Great
the
voice.
music was great, and it totally it suited the movie. It fit exactly just all the different types of emotions and feelings that I would get throughout the movie. It was like it was perfect. It was perfectly curated. The music was great. It's fantastic.
Love it.
In our 7 episode, our special guest Nicole, she actually talked about how she heard that some people sympathized more with Max when they were younger, and then as they got older, they kind of were leaning more towards Goofy and like his stance on things. And I actually felt
Yeah.
like watching it, I was still Team Max. Like I don't know, like Goofy just seemed kind of annoying to me.
That's what I was saying. Like a lot of the times, I agree with that because, like, as a now parent, I usually will, you know, empathize more with the parent side of things nowadays and be like, man, why are the kids being like this? Like they're just trying to love you or whatever.
Exactly.
But in this case, like I said earlier, a lot of times I was like taking notes, like what not to do, like don't do that, don't do that, don't do what Goofy's doing here, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, I just feel like he wasn't exactly like he was always just going to one extreme or the other, just completely being a wet noodle or just being too, you know, taking Pete's advice a little too strongly. And they find that happy middle at some point. You know, obviously that gets broken up again by Pete, but you know, they find it again and they keep it. So hopefully they can keep that relationship. But it's always just going to be a hard relationship when your kid is a teen, no matter what.
You know, Eric, it's funny because I'm the opposite of you. Like I was more Team Goofy once I became older, right? Yeah, like I started seeing how Goofy was trying to love his son overly, right? He's overly trying, and you can't always do that because you're gonna get that like when you love a cat too much,
That
right?
pushback.
Yeah, that like
Yeah.
get off of me. And so, you know, I saw that for like as an adult now, and it's like I understand it because I was Max back then, right? Or think about my own relationship with my own dad, right? Like my dad, he's been a working man his whole life, and he's constantly talked about going fishing and going to these places like how Goofy and Max did. I think watching Goofy movie also kind of helped me visualize what it could have been, because I know my dad's a little older and we may not be able to ever do that kind of stuff just from financial reasons and age. And watching that movie, I can just kind of think like, okay, that's how it would probably be.
Well, Ryan, It was a blast having you on, man. I think you fit right in, and
Oh, well,
you brought so much energy to the show.
well,
It
thank
was a
you
lot of fun having you
for
on.
yeah, man. Thanks for having me, inviting me, asking me which one I wanted to do, and then picking Goofy movie. I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. So, yeah, thank you.
I had no doubt that you're gonna be great on this episode because it's something you were so passionate about. You know, you had so much knowledge about yourself.
Oh shoot, I
We
mean,
didn't have to twist your arm.
yeah, shoot. The next one, you get me on Hercules, you get me on Mulan, you get me on all kinds of Disney movies. I love
Ooh,
them.
Hercules,
Yeah, Hercules, yeah,
yay!
All right.
dude, yeah.
Also, fun fact for the audience: if you didn't know, Ryan is actually related to our other co-host,
Oh
Michael.
no, yeah, that's right.
I wanted to make sure I added that at the end because it's just like a little like Easter egg for those that are listening. But I also wanted you to stand out on your own and not be compared to Michael. You know, so it's like they would have to go through this whole episode and form their own opinion about you, and then find out that you are related to
I
Michael.
get
So
you. Hey, I mean, me and Michael, we have two different styles, right? Michael, he has his own thing and his own shtick, and me, I use my ADHD for good.
it's a superpower.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a curse.
Aflixionados podcast is available on all major podcast streaming services, including Stitcher, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. Thank you so much to listeners out there for joining Ryan, Michael, Stephanie, and I for our special December bonus episode. Happy holidays, everyone. This has been Aflixionados Podcast, episode 19, A Goofy Movie, the perfect podcast. And we'll see you all next time.
Nice.
A little smokage. Ow, 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 ow. Dude, hell yeah.